think we are live. Oh my goodness. It is Wednesday night, hump day. And let's just get started as people trickle in. What is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Steve V. This is episode 737 alongside Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful on this beautiful Wednesday night.
I love
It's always good to
it.
see you.
You as well. And I mentioned we are live. We have got a lot to get into tonight. We've got a whole discussion and hot topics and advice. And I'm excited to get into all of it. And we want to hear from some of you that can join us live tonight. So weigh in. Hello, hello. Hello, Diego. Hello, Doug. Just to name a couple people that we're seeing so far. And, we were talking all about post Valentine's Day on episode 736. And I love to keep the conversation going, but in a new way. Tomorrow, Kodi, is my
Hmm
1 year anniversary with Diego when we initially got married. And I know a lot of people are like, what? Scooby Doo, because like,
Not
wait, I
me.
thought you got married like a couple months ago. And it's like, we initially got married, for those wondering, February 19th in 2025. And tomorrow's our 1 year anniversary, or when this drops, the 1 year anniversary when you're listening to it. And we are going to be celebrating with you because you were there on that
I
infamous
was.
day,
I have all
as
the
well as
pictures.
all the pictures, as well as a few other people. I think we're about to defrost the cake because that's a thing. When
Ooh.
what do you do on your 1 year anniversary? Well, hopefully you didn't eat all the cake, which we didn't. And we are pulling it out and going to eat it after a fabulous dinner that we have planned. And we're really excited about it. But it did get me thinking about a lot of different things based on our last conversation that we were having. And if we were talking about post Valentine's Day and meeting people in the dark room on episode 736, or in places where my husband and I met, which was the New York Eagle, a BDSM club, and how you can make a relationship work out of that. Tonight, we're talking about love isn't just found, it's built. Why making it work can be challenging, and why finding it can feel even harder. So, we're looking at it tonight in different directions when you already are in the relationship, post lust, wherever you've met, or the challenges of what it really takes to find somebody. You can't just start. I mean, tomorrow marks 1 year of marriage for myself,
Yeah.
but we did say something on this last episode, episode 736, that stuck, where we basically said relationships are work, right?
Yeah.
Not
Oh my
necessarily
gosh.
hard, but they're work. I
No,
remember,
they're hard work.
yeah, you said something that I totally agreed with, that resonated with me, about not always being right. And,
Oh my gosh.
we record these shows and then I edit them, and I often are obviously re-listening to a lot of it. And I heard that again. And, like a good movie, oftentimes you have to hear it twice. It sticks a little bit more. That really stuck with me on how relationships are a lot of work, but also being right can also be the demise often of a relationship. And you had mentioned that in yours, and I said I'm always working on that myself, on not always having to be right, right? Because it's just a biggie, right? But what we didn't really say enough, and we said it a little bit, was relationships don't stay still. You're constantly evolving together, hopefully. I think was one of the subtle points that we were making on that episode. Or hopefully, or if you're growing apart, quietly. And that's never a good place to be
Yeah.
as well. So, on tonight's episode, we are focusing a lot on what we just stated, on basically, you know, we're also going to talk about being single too. When
Yeah.
you're single, it can feel almost impossible just to get someone to text back. Second dates are rare oftentimes, and ghosting can be oh so common. Chemistry often doesn't equal consistency, and people want connection but panic when it gets real. So, with all of that, let's get
Yes.
into it.
Which is a lot.
Which, Cody, which is harder, finding love or sustaining it? I mean, it's like a tough question.
Yeah, and you know what? For me, when I read that, I thought it was all about like perspective. Because when you are in a relationship, that seems like the hardest thing that you can do. But when you are looking for love, that seems like the hardest thing you can do. So I'm kind of in a unique space where I'm not really looking for love, but I'm looking to date. I'm looking to explore and to, get to know people. But also, I just got out of something. Well, not just, but I've recently become single, and part of me, if I'm being completely honest, still wants to try and make that work, if that makes sense. So I'm in the perspective to where I'm willing to do the things in order for and make the compromises for the relationship to work, but also I am being realistic and looking at other people and seeing if there could potentially be something there. So this is like perfect for me because I can see both areas of this very like it with a unique lens.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think both of them can be hard and challenging. How many times do we give advice on this show of people trying to find love, how to connect with people? That was is the whole purpose of an app I started at the beginning of this year, Connect and Confidence. And with so much, like we mentioned before, ghosting and not hearing back from people, or long distance relationships and so on and so forth, I think it's really hard to actually find a love. But then, equally so, you find a love. I mean, my husband and I were just talking, and tomorrow will be a really good day to just kind of reflect on the year that we had, which was so much we pulled
Mhm.
into 1 year. And along with living together as well.
Yeah.
And
That in and of itself is an adjustment for sure.
yeah, and and even planning the marriage and all, and we had a lot of people come our way that gave us such a million, like, beautiful things to help them, to the beautiful ceremony and wedding day that we ultimately had, which was a huge party. But it's a lot of stress as well that we put on ourselves. We've had a lot of stresses on our marriage, and I've mentioned before that I've never lived with somebody, and that's a whole thing. It's a lot. And but we are, like Jeremy was mentioning, you have to constantly check in with that person, and it's a constant check in. And I'm here for that. I love it, but I do think in the end it's can be equal, but hopefully it sustains out a little bit more down the road. I think those, after the beautiful ceremony and everything, things start to settle down a little bit more. But I do say finding it is harder. I would probably put a little
Really?
bit more percentile on that. Not finding lust, not finding somebody that
Yeah,
want to
I
date
hear you.
for a minute or here, but finding that love, I think actually is maybe a little bit more percentile than sustaining it, I would argue. And but we want to hear from you and hear what you guys are saying. And some of you are live. Oh, we've got somebody with your
My
last name in the chat.
my aunt's in here. Hi, Aunt
I
Betty. How you
love
doing?
that. Maybe weigh
Yeah.
in on that question. What's harder,
She's
finding
been married for
love
a long time.
or sustaining it? I wanna hear. Oh, we got
Yeah,
somebody in the family. I like
I know.
that.
She's very wise. I've gotten a lot of good advice from her, so I welcome her comments.
Okay, well, if relationships feel so hard, what makes relationships hard after the honeymoon phase? Well, I can vouch for that one. I think after the honeymoon phase, after the marriage, you're living together, you're looking at finances together, you're merging. For us, we live in a basically one bedroom apartment. So we've been, combining our things, although we just did a whole structure of I'm not really good at organizing. He is. So that's been
He's so
helping
good.
really
He needs to come to my house.
well. Yeah. Um, Other questions. What did we not anticipate about long-term partnership? What did I not anticipate? I would really, I think that you really do have to be communicating all the time.
Mhm.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
my one advice, I think, at least early on as well, I feel, because it's when we did so much so early in a compact moment, and my goodness, why wouldn't we think that we would be bombarded with so many things, stimuli coming at us, and still running our own program, our own lives? Yeah, that's been a whole situation.
Yeah, so I hear that and I love that. For me, the thing that is the hardest about a relationship is that the honeymoon phase kind of blinds you to how much work it actually is. And for me, I got kind of shell shocked because in the honeymoon phase, it's like your one basically. Your thoughts and your desires are kind of still very aligned. But then after that's gone, I feel like you go back to being two separate people with two separate not two separate goals, but like the desires aren't as in sync as they used to be when you were in the honeymoon phase. And I personally, when I'm in the honeymoon phase, I'm like, whatever you want, baby. Oh, you want this? You can totally have it. But no, once that's done, it's like, well, we need to compromise because I am here in this relationship as well. So you begin to focus on I focused on myself a lot more than I probably should have instead of kind of balancing things. And I think that for me is what I learned in my last relationship about how to move forward. It's about both of us coming to a common ground instead of and I think that's also because I did give so much in the beginning uh to where I got a little resentful of the fact that I was giving so much and when it was really my mind telling me my desires are telling me to give all of these things away. So, yeah, that's my spin on it.
Yeah, I know. So much. I mean, we could go in so many directions with this. I
Yes.
mean, you mentioned something though. How do you change personally when you're in a relationship? And a question that has come up, or how do you evolve when your partner changes? I would say we're all changing, and that's where that communication, sharing, hopefully you move into a state where wherever you were at when you met, either with your life, that your partner shares your goals too, your
Yeah.
individual goals as well. And I think that can be actually fun to share and support
Mhm.
your partner wherever they're at. And if you're changing and going through something interesting with your career, hopefully you're getting that support and you feel comfortable talking to your partner about that. And that can actually be an exciting time, I think.
Oh, definitely. I really think that the most important thing when it comes to having evolving into different people, which everybody has to do. So I feel like you have to be open and honest about your journey and where you're going and where you want to go. And I feel like that really helps people grow together instead of growing apart. Really being invested in someone's journey automatically once allows you to grow in the same direction. So I really think that that's communication, and you've mentioned it several times before, but I think that like it's really important in this situation. It's important in all aspects of a relationship, but right here is how you still can grow together, in my personal opinion.
Absolutely. And if I met Diego at the Eagle, where there was like a lot of lust, energy, and initial chemistry, you find out that marriage isn't really built on nightlife adrenaline, if you
It's
will.
not. Wait a
It's
minute.
I mean,
are you
it's
are
built
you sure?
on it's built on daily activities, grocery runs, mood, stress, work fatigue. one way we found to make it work is we both love cooking, and cooking has been our nighttime activity. Like, what are we making? And we either cook together, we plan the menu together, and it's a group activity that we can do even when one of us is a little bit more exhausted. Or when I have a show to do, like tonight, he's over there, he's been prepping for after the show. He's making a pesto sauce linguine,
Ooh,
and
I'll be right
yeah, and
over.
it doesn't have to be
Let me
that's
log
good,
off.
yeah. And so that has been something that we often, especially this winter, we've stayed in a lot, and things like cooking together and talking about what we're going to do together like that has brought us together. We still go out and we still have fun, we just keep that conversation going. And so if we were to switch though to dating when you're single, and why it
Oh.
often can feel so impossible when you're single, why is it so hard to get a third or even a second date at times, Cody? I mean, are we addicted to too many options? Do you think the apps get us in trouble? There's just too many options and choices? Are we chasing chemistry instead of compatibility? Or has ghosting made us emotionally avoid it?
Wow. All of those things actually probably. And it's probably a big mixture of it. I think probably the most prevalent one in my personal opinion is the one where there's too many options. I feel like people feel like they can go out there and just re reimagine or really have that connection with somebody, and it doesn't always work that way. It didn't work like that for me for so many years of my life, and then finally I found somebody that that I thought I can actually get along with, that I want to be around for a prolonged period of time, and that's actually rare when I from my personal experience. So I don't know why, I can't explain it, but I feel like people really think that it's it's, uh, it's really easily attainable, but I feel like that's something that's unique and that we should probably cherish a little bit more. And also, I think a lot of people don't wanna put in the work. I think that once it gets
Yeah.
really hard, and it does get really hard, and you have to actually make compromises, and you can't be like you can't stay stuck in your ways and, how you are, because a lot of people are stubborn out there too. So I feel like you have to be able to compromise, and you have to be able to put in the work and care about how the other person is feeling. And a lot of people are just selfish. So I feel like all of those things rolled into one, honestly. What do you think?
I think that in many ways, our community, especially as gay men, many of us take a little bit longer to find that long-term relationship, that marriage thing. And I think it's because we have a lot of options in many ways. I mean, we as gay men, many of us build really true, meaningful friendships, and travel is part of our culture. And
Mhm.
you can really sustain a really beautiful life with your friends and travel around the world and have a lot of fun. And as you're taking care of yourself. And I think that that just makes wow, we see much more of the world than much of our heterosexual counterparts. Not all of them, but in
Yeah,
general. And we
in
are a
general.
lot more worldly, and we rely if you talk to a lot of straight men counterparts, they don't have as many friends, true friendships, I feel, as us gay men do. And our friendships
Really?
are
You think
sacred.
so?
I don't think so. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of no, and I think there's that push to get married earlier on in your 30s. And then
Yeah.
when we did a study, not we didn't do the study, but we
I was
reported on
like,
the
we
study.
study?
Yeah, when we did the study, when we reported on the study that basically remember that study, and I've it's so funny because the has gone viral to where my Jewish barber, who's straight with family man of 5, quoted it back to me just the other day, saying that out of all marriages, lesbians are at 73% of divorce. Heterosexuals are a little bit above 50% in ending in divorce. And gay men's marriage ends at a low of like 20, I want to say 28%, the
Oh,
lowest.
wow. Yeah?
But I would argue because it takes us that much longer to find somebody, and when we do, we have lived a life of
Mm,
sowed a lot of wild oats, and we're much
yeah,
more open to things like open marriages or marriages that are a little bit more independent in as opposed to our heterosexual counterparts. And
yeah,
so
then
I just feel like, by the time, you know, we're ready for something like a true relationship, at least this was my feeling too. I wasn't ready early on, but now I am in my
yeah.
50s. And yeah,
I feel like a
so
lot of gay men know what they want when they get married because, again, we've done all these things. We've dated a lot of people, so we know what it is we like and what it is we don't like out of a relationship, and what we will tolerate and what we won't tolerate. I think like the majority of gay men have experienced a lot as far as dating is concerned. I know I'm a lesbian on the inside, so for me, as I speak for the lesbian contingent, so no, I feel like lesbians in general, and this is stereotype. So if I'm wrong, I need for the lesbians to correct me. I feel like they seem to be serial monogamous, and I feel like they are people that really lock it down and want more conventional relationships, and as opposed to gay men who want unconventional relationships.
absolutely. I like that. I like that. Oh my
or
gosh.
at
And
least
then here's the missing piece, evolving. And do we talk enough about evolving together when you're in the relationship? How often do we check in emotionally, which I think is so important in relationships? What if relationships fail not because of conflict, but because of the stagnation? And what does growing together actually look like? What I've learned in 1 year is that we we're more solidly based on our day-to-day actions and just like what's ahead of us, but we often share goals together
Mhm,
that are exciting and something like we're talking about years down the road, things that we want to kind of do together, whether it's a business project
mhm.
or where we want to live, because child, we can't always live here in New York City. And so and it's
Wait, are
exciting.
you announcing a move on
Not now,
Not
but,
now, okay, alright, don't stress me
yeah,
out on this podcast on
in this
today, alright?
climate,
In
you
this
get
climate,
it.
in this
Yeah,
economy, I don't
in
know.
this economy, yeah, and so those are things that, I think are sustainable that keep the relationship, moving forward. And like you were saying, and I said too, not having to be right and checking in with your partner and figuring out what's not working, but really hearing each other. And I think are big takeaways. I mean, it's something that we kind of recalibrate together all the time and check in. And I think it's really impactful right now because of it's this 1 year anniversary, right? We had so much coming our way, but we've handled it. We made it. You're
Yeah,
coming to celebrate the 1 year
I
anniversary.
am,
And
and y'all are strong,
yeah.
and I love to see it.
And if I could close with, because you were saying in our meeting that you didn't agree with, I proposed a bunch of topics for you, but are you looking for
Mhm.
fireworks or foundation, Cody?
Both. Why can't we
All
have both?
right.
I'm a greedy bitch, I'm sorry. I'm looking for fireworks and foundation. I need you to be able to build a house and set it on fire at the same time. So, yeah, sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I'm
Are
willing to
you,
provide the foundation and the fireworks too, so I'm not asking anything of anyone else that I'm not asking of myself.
And I think they both can exist as well too. I
Yeah.
mean, we're in our sex lives, we are finding it, and but you have to work on that too. I mean,
Oh,
because that can
yeah,
change
yeah. Well, the
too.
fireworks come easy to me. The foundation is the hard part.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm working on it. I'm, writing my
What about
songs.
the single people that are always grass is always greener, always looking for, the ones that ghost us when we're in that dating? Are they scared of committing? And how do we handle those when people really are putting themselves out there often and not feeling they just get ghosted and you never get an answer? How do you answer for that?
I don't answer for that. If they ghost me, then I know that I dodged a bullet because I feel like anybody who doesn't want a second date with me, anybody that can ghost me, anybody that can't text me back in a reasonable amount of time, not 2 days later,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that's not somebody that I want to be with. They're not willing to put in any effort to get to know me. So I am okay with them exiting from my life. And I don't need an answer from them because they are not dedicated to actually doing the work. So that showed me, my last relationship showed me how hard the work is. So if you show me in the
Yeah.
beginning, infancy stages of a relationship that you can't do the simple things, how are you going to be able to do the hard things? You're not going to be
Well,
able to.
and if I could take what you just stated and a story you shared with us on your Valentine's Day on the last
Oh,
episode, episode 7,
that's a sweet one. I
such a
got scared for a
really
second.
cool. Jeremy and I were like really like touched. You basically said that you met a person and you had already met up with them once before, correct?
That's a story for another time. My aunt and no.
Okay.
I
This
was talking to
person,
him at the Eagle. Remember, we went to the Eagle that one night, not maybe a
yes.
couple,
Oh,
2 weeks
yes.
ago.
Oh,
I
that
was That's
one.
the guy I was
Yeah.
talking to. Yeah,
And
and we
so
had met
he,
a couple times
okay.
before, and we hooked up twice in the
And
Eagle.
I remember me and another friend of ours were like, "Ooh, they look good together," and we thought he was
He's a
very
handsome
handsome,
man.
of course. Yeah, and you shared. This is just repeating what you shared the other day. He showed up on Valentine's Day at your work
Yeah.
and surprised you, and then you went out for empanadas and a drink, and it was lovely. He's putting out that extra effort, I feel, correct?
He he did. I need to actually text him and see how he's doing because we haven't spoken in
Yeah,
like a
maybe it's
day.
like he put that out, so it's now your turn.
But I put out some effort as well. This isn't a relationship therapy right here that I'm going through, but it's not even a relationship. Doctor, can you help me? No,
Okay.
I'm not holding this against them. We are not in a I told him that day that we were hanging out, all of us, I was like, look, I am not looking for a
Can I give you a
relationship.
J? We're gonna talk about
We're
it.
getting there. We are
We're getting
getting
there.
there. Please look over the glasses, girl. That is everything. I cannot wait to talk about that.
You'll know
Okay,
what
you
we're
got me
talking
really
about in 2
excited.
seconds, and if I could just end on this conversation, thank you for indulging me because it is tomorrow, or when you're listening to this, my 1-year wedding anniversary, the initial day that we got married, Diego and I, and it's been an amazing year, and I think everybody that has really been supporting us, and I'm so excited for, I feel like we put on so much on that first year and we made it.
I'm
And
so happy for you. I can't wait
yeah,
to celebrate you tomorrow.
I'm really excited for it and what's to come. So yeah, let us know where you weigh in on this. And you can always continue the conversation on our tags Patreon community. Thank you. I just saw somebody that joined our team over there. And you can always grab a tier and support tags, or you can just grab a free tier. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast. Let's continue the conversation over there. But we've got to get into hot topics. And one thing that we wanted to report on, because we mentioned that Kodi and I went to the erecting, I like saying that word, of the pride flag in the
I was like,
Stonewall
interesting.
Monument last Thursday. And we talked about, you can hear our experience on that. Well, it just keeps getting better and better because now the Trump administration could be sued or is being sued for the Stonewall Pride flag removal in New York. And we mentioned before that there is new legislation that will try and keep it up at the Stonewall National Monument where it should actually be since 1969, but that actually now they're suing the administration because, as you mentioned on the last episode, other flags. So, the whole reason, just to give you a little play by play, is that the administration has made it a whole thing where the only flag that can be up in national monuments, federal national monuments like the Stonewall, which they control in Washington, are the American flags. But why, as you mentioned, are other flags being erected and being kept up? One of which is you mentioned it before,
Yeah.
right, Kodi?
The Confederate flag. And you know what? I'm so glad I said it because I knew it because those rednecks would be up in arms. They would be marching the streets for their Confederate flag to be up. So I knew that that was something that didn't occur and they're just targeting us. So yeah, I'm sorry, continue.
No, thank you. And you were so right on. The lawsuit filed by a group of LGBTQ plus advocates at a Greenwich Village community group said the federal government claimed the Department of the Interior rules bar the flying of anything but the US flag and in national parks. Quote, in fact, the opposite is true. The policies the government say require removing the pride flag expressly permit National Park Service to fly other flags that provide historical context to national monuments, which is precisely what the NPS's official pride flag did at Stonewall for many years, the lawsuit says. And it was just filed in the U.S. District Court in Manhattan a day after a federal judge in Philadelphia ordered the National Park Service to restore an exhibit at Independence National Historic Park that contained information about 9 slaves who lived with President George Washington in the official president's residence in Philadelphia in the 1790s. So it's a whole thing where,
I
like
thought
you
you were
were
going to say
saying,
President Trump about the slaves. I was like, oh
yeah,
my
no,
God.
I just
Sorry.
love that don't mess
Made me
with
giggle.
us. Don't mess with us because we will carry this on and you won't
We know
win.
all about litigation, honey. We know about litigation.
Yeah. When we don't, we'll consult our LGBTQ plus lawyers that do.
We
And
call it
yeah, we're
Annalise
not.
Keating, honey. Okay. She always wins.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I don't know if any of you watched America's Next Top Model back in the day, but there is a brand new documentary, America's Next Top Model, the documentary, which it's a 3-part series. I just watched the whole thing. It is so good, especially if you watched it back in the day, which was the early 2000s. Of course, Tyra Banks was at the helm of it, but we're talking about Jay Manuel, we're talking about Miss J, we're talking about Nigel Barker, and what happened to that show. Did it occur at a time, Kodi, where this was just kind of what we were seeing? Was it breakthrough at the time to get models a chance at an opportunity? And was it breakthrough? Perhaps it was. What did they ultimately put these models through, these challenges that went way too far? And what about the internal back-scene dynamics that occurred between the people that I just mentioned? I mean, what did you take away from this as a viewer of America's Next Top Model? And what are your thoughts? It's number
So
one on
much.
Netflix, by the way.
It has to be. It's number one in my house. I literally sat down. I was like, I'm just gonna watch one. I'm gonna see what this is all about. 3 hours later, and lots of tears. It was amazing. I thought that it was everything. I learned so much about like the behind the scenes. Tyra is insane, but she had a great idea in
Yeah.
order to uh, get more uh, models of color out there into the industry, more plus size models out there in the industry. She really broke down a lot of doors and a lot of barriers. Now, was it all 100% above board as far as like the things that we know now? I absolutely not. It watching it again, it's very cringeworthy because I did try and watch it, and
Oh, yeah, no.
so many things raised red flags in me that I know now that I did not know back then. And I know there's a lot of pushback as far as like having Tyra take accountability, and I think she should. I think she owes a lot of those girls apologies, personal apologies. She doesn't owe us anything because it was a different time. I feel like we as a society have grown and we understand things in a from a different purview now. So I think that as long as both parties understand that it was a different time then and it's a different time now, we can meet somewhere in the middle as far as finding forgiveness for Tyra, and she can keep her hot ice cream because I don't want it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of thoughts on this. For one, there was a huge popular show that I may have mentioned on this show before. If you were from California, you knew about it. It was produced by Macy's, and it was called Macy's Passport, and it was a huge HIV prevention fashion show that was in San Francisco and LA. And my dear friend produced it and directed it for Macy's, and I went to it. My sister and I like produced this. We got a behind the scenes series that we produced on YouTube for Macy. Like we called Behind the Runway.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was before
Fun.
Tyra's show, and we were doing this thing called Behind the Runway. And we pitched it to my friend, who ultimately pitched it to his bosses at Macy's, and it got
Oh,
greenlit.
wow.
And we were
Nice.
doing a lot of giving a look at what it took to be a model, what it took to also put this show on, which was a huge HIV benefit. And we're talking about raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. At the helm was Elizabeth Taylor and Sharon Stone, and it had celebrities because it was all based in California. And it was not a small thing by any means.
Yeah,
It was one of the largest
sounds
runway
fabulous.
fashion shows with celebrities and models. And we pitched this. So we tried to give this behind the scenes look at it. And it was super fun when we had our video production company. And but we were also careful on what we put out, and it was nowhere on the realm of what this ultimately came about. I agree with you that what Tyra really was putting forth early on, and I commend her, and she really does it. You really learn about how it all came about in the first. There's three parts of this. The first one, and I'm rooting for her, and it's really amazing, and because she was giving a different look, and giving people the opportunity. The takeaways that I did is I think she came up with a great idea. I think, like you said, it was a different time period when things like Survivor and cutthroat types of reality TV really pushed their contestants to go
Mhm.
that extra mile that put them at odds with their own lives. And I just think it was the time. This wouldn't fly today.
Yeah.
When you look at what ultimately the people that she cites in this show, and I'm just going to give this one, positive. You don't want to hear this part, but she
Oh,
cites
spoiler alert.
three models that actually do make it and are representative of being on the show. One of them is a plus size model, which I think
Okay.
she gave license to future plus size models, maybe the first. Another one was a woman that had a skin condition,
Mm.
and I've seen her out, and she's African American, but I don't know the skin condition, but it's like she has two-toned skin tone. You know the model I'm talking
I
about,
do, Winnie
right?
Harlow, and it's, I have to Google it.
She brought her forth on the TV show. That Winnie has gone on to be hugely famous from the show. And the other one that is also a different circumstance, if you will, for lack of better words, is the first trans model that she had on the show that ultimately went on to do really well as a trans model. And now there's a good size percentage of trans female models
Yeah.
out there. And so those were her three examples. None of them were, if you just wanted to be a model, the ones that did try and go for model contracts were told that, these photos are unusable because they're too over the top and we can't use too much makeup. And it just, and we could go on with a lot of the other things. The one thing, there's a last spoiler alert, but I won't give it away, is Miss J. But
Miss
Miss
J,
J,
justice for Miss J.
yeah,
And
yeah,
Shandy. Yeah, that was heartbreaking. That was heartbreaking. I just
yeah.
but
It's really
she's
good.
still iconic.
Even if I will say, in terms, if you like those really tight, well produced docushows of a period in time of our recent pop culture history, I'm citing another show that looked at Abercrombie and Fitch. Jeremy and I talk about that.
Mm.
the controversies that came. It's a look at, I love it because I studied sociology in school. And when you can look at a period in time in recent past histories and look at what was going on, it's just a reminder like, yeah, what was I doing in that period? And even if you didn't watch the show, I didn't shop at Abercrombie at all, but I knew what was going on, kind of. And this just gave a insider look at it, and they're really well produced in ways where I don't know that you come away going, one person is evil. In Abercrombie, you sort of do in the CEO
Yeah,
sense.
I was just
But
thinking that.
in this one, I don't know that you come away thinking Tyra's like, the devil. She has her part in it, but you look at it's a little complicated, I feel, but she's not great, and everybody calls her out on it, but everybody has their part in it.
Yeah. I was just thinking that. I was like, it's more clear cut for the Abercrombie guys that they were trying to victimize these people. But for Tyra, I don't really get that sense. So I don't know. Maybe she's more of a charismatic, likable character or person.
She
She's
doesn't
not a
come across
character.
looking great, and
But she does
yeah,
not look good, that's for
yeah,
sure.
and so yeah, but well worth it. Even if you haven't watched the series, it's kind of well produced, right,
Oh
Kodi?
yeah. It was so
Yeah.
juicy. I'm telling you, I got addicted. The first 5 minutes I was in.
I was totally, yeah. You'll find that time to make it in your schedule. We had to produce this show today, and I was like, oh no, I'm getting in those last
Oh
two
no, it's Tyra
episodes.
time.
Yeah, because Diego can't stand
Let me get my
stuff.
smize
So I'm
on.
like,
What? He wasn't here?
no, he
What'd you
doesn't
say?
watch any of that stuff and doesn't care.
Oh,
And I'm like, that's fine. And
yeah.
so- yeah. So all right, we've got to move on because we've mentioned Jeffree Star on this show. Jeffree Star, makeup artist, correct, drag queen,
Is
been
she?
in the
I don't think
news
so.
for
I don't think
racist
she
comments and all kinds of things against ICE and so forth, right? But recently did a video with Drake Vaughn. Okay, who's Drake Vaughn? Drake Vaughn is an adult performer, and they did this on Twitter recently. So we've got Drake Vaughn, who is kind of a twink adult performer, if you will. And then we've got Jeffree Star, a beauty mogul, if you will, with kind of a history of being somewhat racist and
It looks like
had a lot of
Skeletor.
things. They did a video together that really suggested that they were going to be working together sexually, and did they do this for likes? And what are you thinking about this? And yeah, what's your thoughts?
In the immortal words of Valerie Cherish, I don't want to see that.
I don't want to
Okay.
see that.
I don't want to see that. Jeffree Star, Drake Vaughn is fine. He's like kind of cute, but a word of wisdom for him. If you lay down with dogs, you're gonna wake up with fleas. That's one thing is for sure. And Jeffree Star got him all over him. So please don't do it. Don't trade places what I've been through, as they say in The Color Purple. But I don't want to see that. I'm not interested in seeing Jeffree Star have sex. It's the fact that no, thank you. That's all I have to say. No, thank you. Please keep it to yourself. You can record it, put it in your VCR, and watch it whenever you can. But don't release it to the public. I don't want to see that.
The one thing they say about Drake Vaughn's porn, if you haven't seen him, he's been
I
known for
haven't.
testing the limits. Recently, he announced his infamous 1,000 bottoms versus one top challenge, which had most of the internet rolling their eyes because he's in a room with like, I don't know, 15 guys, and it's like 1,000 bottoms versus one top, and he's, of course, the top. And yeah, people were like, whatever, dude. Yeah, have fun. And then my favorite thing about this article that we pulled it from Instinct magazine, somebody saying, maybe the man was attractive enough. I might be able to ignore the fact that the other model was Star, but Drake Vaughn is not that model. He's got a butter face, and Star is not someone I'd ever want to see naked in the first place. And
That was meaner than what I
Butterface.
said. At least I didn't say Drake Vaughn had a butterface. He's all right. He's not my speed, but I mean, to each their
What does
own.
butterface mean? It's not anything good, obviously,
It
but I kind of
means it
understood
means
what they meant
it's a hot
immediately.
body, butterface.
Mm.
He's got a hot body, but his face is not cute.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's move on because recently an ex Grinder employee has been revealing all the tea when everything started to change. It all had to do when Grinder went public, according to this person, which Grinder's 2022 IPO went public, and many of the apps reported 15 million monthly users believe Grinder's downfall coincides with its rival on the New York Stock Exchange. Like many apps, Grinder now seems to prioritize profit over user experience. And we have talked a lot about this, Kodi, of basically the changes that happened when they went public.
Yeah,
CEO George Arison, who joined the company in 2022, operates more like a tech mogul, according to this article. But one of the things that has occurred during that period when they went public is that people have reported that there's way more ads, that if you go on the app where you used to see a plethora of people within you see maybe 10 if not 9 on the free account. So, and now we just reported recently that it's almost $500 monthly if you want the brand new
oh yeah.
Edge feature for the AI feature. And they're really going forth. I think they did themselves a disservice in many ways when they went public, because this article goes on to say that Sniffies, which is banned actually from downloading it. It used to be you
From
could
the App
download
Store.
it on. They are banned from that for many reasons, but they're still doing pretty well. But other people say that if you go on older platforms, like what are some of the older ones that people are?
Scruff, Jacked, Manhunt. I could go
y-
on.
Yeah, but they're not much better. And here's what somebody said in the I have Grinder, Snippy, Scruff, and Adam for Adam. The free versions of all of them except Sniffy suck. Adam for Adam is actually a lot worse than Grinder, where I live in a suburban area. So unfortunately, Grinder and Sniffies are the only ones that are popular in my area. The others are the same faces all the time and not nearly as many members. So at the end of the day, where do you weigh in?
Yeah, I found that too. Down going on Scruff because I used to be on Scruff a lot. It used to be really good in I would say mid 2000s, but right now it's just not where it used to be. I am on Grinder and Sniffies mainly, uh, but I do think that Grinder has jumped the shark. They have gotten too profit greedy, and it's definitely going to affect them in the long run because people are not going to be able to deal with this for much longer. And once they went public, this is something that really kind of just ruined their whole scheme, their whole what's it called, their um however they set up their business, that their business plan. I think
Yeah.
that yeah, it's just something that they should probably reevaluate so they can maximize profits, but not really screw over the people that made them popular in the first place.
Well, one of the things that they say that they're moving forward is they are going to be the new international gayborhood for us gay men. But when you have the CEO who is really, really trying to get it to a profit margin and introducing things like Edge with AI, what I wonder if that's really the initial focus to put that out there, that you want to be the new international gayborhood at these prices. You I mean, yes, it's expensive to go out there, but you can still go to neighborhoods and meet people for happy hour. I'm thinking of one here in the city, Rise Bar, and you can get like at happy hour, you can actually get a drink and get I think you get like a token, so your next drink is free. And
Yep.
I mean, you're not getting those kinds of things when you're calling yourself a gayborhood and you're charging exorbitant prices, and when you can only get like 10 people on the free account and you have to pay into paywalls to get a gayborhood. Is he reaching when he says those words like we're going to be the new international gayborhood?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand how he's gonna accomplish that. I would like to see it because I don't really think it's very feasible, especially when it's just that you price out so many people. And I think that once it becomes so exclusive, I think that a lot of people are not going to want to do it because it's just not sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the fence with it because I think that so many people are glued to their phone and that is how they operate. So I think people will pay and people will
You
be
think
like, well, I'm
so?
not going to,
$500? That's a lot.
not that one, but they will, like, what do you pay? You're not going to pay $500, but what's like, what do you
I think
pay?
I paid 15.
Oh, that's not bad.
I know, I can look at it right now, but I'll text it to you.
Okay, come back to us. All right.
Yes.
Well, we had to talk about, should we get into advice or should we?
Let's do some advice. Yes,
Let's
please.
get to advice. The going on the first date or
Yes.
okay, great.
Y
The one I have to read a lot.
yes.
This
No, let's
person
do
on
it
Reddit.
different. Well, that'll fill the time,
Okay.
that first one.
This person wrote on a Reddit thread, going on a first date hookup in years and not sure how to interpret interactions so far. Okay, Cody, you're looking it up how much you're paying on.
Yes, I'm gonna
Okay,
start
good.
listening
In the
now.
meantime, so I have been single for a long time, they wrote. I've been on dating apps for about a year. This is all what we're talking about with no success at all. Finally, I find a guy in his mid 20s willing to meet up and take it slow. His words, we're both not into random hookups. He said he can't host, but was eager to meet up with me at my place right away. But here's the first potential red flag. He asked if I could help pay for gas money since he lives 45 minutes away. I dodged the question and said I was busy during the weekdays, but could meet up on the weekend and asked him if he had any other selfies and asked if he wanted me to pick him up. He kept dodging my selfie question until finally sending me one of those iPhone live photos where he kind of moved around a little bit. Ooh. So I guess it can't be a fake dude matches his pics on Grindr and it's a live photo. Anyway, oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understood that. Anyway, he eventually said he didn't want me to pick him up and said he could meet me at my place. I found a middle ground. I'm paying for a hotel room using a credit and status. Cody, when he talked about like the moving around, I thought, oh, is that like a filter, like to make yourself look a little blurry and glowy?
Yeah.
But it
Season
was
1
to prove
filter.
that he's a real person. I'm so old school. He's a farm hand, so I guess needing some gas money is understandable, although odd. He agreed to talking on the phone before our meetup this weekend, but even though he was available for a meetup, immediately told me he said no to talking on the phone now. This person says, okay, that's fine. He's busy now, I guess. So I paid $1.50 to look his phone number up in a people finder. I'm in central Ohio, but his number comes back to a random dude in Chicago with an active address from, okay, no, you're
No.
not. He writes, am I tripping? Is this kind of red flag? Absolutely. No, no,
Yeah. No,
no, no.
no,
When
no. Molly, you
somebody
in danger,
tells
girl.
when somebody lives in a different place in where you live, in other words, they're not across town, as we like to say here in the city, or on a train ride away. You are going, just turn on Hulu or any of Netflix and go down that rabbit hole of catfishing. There's a plenty of those. I love those. That's my Saturday thing that I like to watch. When people, no, no, chances are they could be in Nigeria and no. And
There might be a
especially
prince there though, so I don't know.
absolutely, I say absolutely not. Abort, abort, abort.
Abort. Yes, I agree with you 100%.
Listen to
Please
your
do not
things.
engage.
And when you have to say, "Is this a red flag? Is this a red flag?" It's like, "Yes, girl, it's many red flags." Like,
All the red flags. I
you
don't
want
know.
the
Are you
pride flag, not a red flag.
Yeah, this is I wanted to do this one because it's just so people get scammed like this all the time. And it's just really disheartening that people want to take advantage of other people like this. But we all need to be vigilant and we need to be all be aware. If something doesn't feel right, like you said, we don't need to be doing it. As soon as this person was like, I need gas money, nobody should be asking you for money to go on a first date. No, absolutely not. We should not
Or even a
be.
hookup. It's
Yeah,
ew.
definitely not a hookup. Are you kidding? I'm not paying nobody to
Because
hook up with them.
the whole thing, I mean, just to be really real, it's like, okay, so to be super real is if you have no money but you need sex, I mean, you could go to cruising areas and get that or you can go on an app and
Oh,
nobody should be you can walk somewhere
in the
and get your
park.
dick sucked. And so when someone starts asking you money for that thing, also red flag alert too, what is this gonna I mean, you shouldn't be paying for I mean, no offense, in the past I have paid for a no not suitable for work person for their services. I'm using
Oh,
air quotes in the past.
services. He was
Yeah,
paying for services.
but I knew what I was paying for, and I think that's
Yeah,
fine. And
totally.
more, yeah, and I enjoyed it, and it was what it was. He's now in jail. The person that I we talk about him a lot on this show, but we're gonna stop. But yeah, I
Girl, I was
mean, yeah,
expecting you to say that.
not for anything that we did,
No, we
for
were
his
not
own actions.
involved. I don't even know the man. I seen him from a distance one
I am
time,
just from a
maybe twice.
distance. Yeah.
I do not know this man. Yeah, red flags all around. Don't do it. Don't send money to Nigeria to the prince.
Put
No,
money in
we're good.
keeping our pride flag afloat at the Stonewall
Yes.
Monument where it should be.
My
And
goodness.
I don't know. I feel like we should leave it on that note because
I think
before
so
we get
too.
into more trouble.
It went
Oh my
to a bunch of places I wasn't expecting.
that's what we
Hey,
do.
it is what it is. It goes where it goes, right?
It goes where it goes. Oh my God. I would say we could do this all night, but we can't do this all night because
You gotta
we're
eat.
putting yeah, we got to eat. You can always follow my co-host Kodi Maurice. Get his brand new EP, "Thing of Beauty," wherever you get your music. It's really that good.
Thank
Follow
you.
that. Follow him on Instagram and on Blue Sky at Mr. Maurice. Follow me on the gram. I am underscore Steve V. Don't forget to go to our Patreon community. And we see you, those that have signed up recently. You can get a free account to get behind the scenes content, continue the conversation from any of our shows. And also, if you feel obliged and supporting us for the work that we're doing, you can grab a paid tier. Who knew? Go to patreon.com/tags podcast. We are back with all new shows next week. Let's continue this conversation going. And in the meantime, let's continue to have hot
Hot gay
gay sex.
sex.
Lovely.